My daughter screamed that I was a failure. After I kicked out my cheating wife, so I revealed the DNA test results and cut them both off. Hello, Reddit I plus here. My name's Eric. I'm 46 years old, and until about 6 months ago, I thought I had a pretty normal life. My wife, Trisha, and I had been married for 24 years. We had a daughter, Mia. She's 22 now, and she's been my pride and joy ever since the day she was born. Or, she was. It all started subtly, the way most disasters do. Late work nights, weird texts Trisha would dismiss with a quick fake laugh. I'd ask if everything was okay, and she would flash that brittle smile and say, "You're being paranoid, Eric. Don't start fights where there aren't any." And I believed her, or at least I wanted to. I needed to. We had built a life together, a home. I worked long hours to make sure Mia could have everything she wanted: piano lessons, soccer camps, the college fund. Trisha stayed home mostly, said she wanted to focus on family. Maybe that's why the affair hit so hard. I found out by accident. A forgotten tablet on the kitchen counter, a string of messages popping up while she was outside watering the garden. I remember the way my hands trembled when I picked it up. I didn't want to look. Some part of me knew, but I had to. There it was. Explicit messages, photos, videos, dates. The worst part? The affair had been going on for years. 5, maybe 6. Some of the messages went back before Mia even graduated high school. Trisha wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. She was in love with this guy, some co-worker she barely knew. When I met him once at a Christmas party, I confronted her that night. She cried, of course. Told me it just happened, that I had been emotionally distant, that I should have noticed she was unhappy. She didn't apologize. Not really. She blamed me. It wasn't even rage I felt in that moment. It was this empty, cavernous silence inside me, like someone had scooped out everything I thought I knew and left me hollow. I told her to leave. She refused at first, camped out in the guest room for a week like some hostage. Mia came home from college that weekend after I called her, thinking she would be horrified by what her mother had done. But I was wrong. So wrong. Mia exploded at me. Not Trisha. Me. She stood in the living room shaking with rage. Her voice cracked when she screamed at me. "How dare you evict Mom over this? You're an insecure loser if you can't accept the new reality. You failed as a dad, failed as a husband, and as a man." Every word was like a punch to the chest. This was my daughter, the kid whose dance recitals I never missed, whose late-night breakdowns over college applications I stayed up for, whose first car I worked overtime to help buy. And here she was, calling me a failure. I remember just standing there, staring at her, feeling something inside me snap. It was in that moment that the pieces finally clicked together. The timeline, the fights Trisha and I used to have, the weird comments her friends made that never made sense until now. And the thing is, I had suspected for years that Mia didn't really look like me. Different hair color, different nose, different eyes. But love blinds you. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. Biology isn't what makes someone your child. But that night, with Mia standing there looking at me like I was some pathetic intruder in my own life, I knew I had to know the truth, even if it killed me. So I did it. Quietly. Secretly. I found an old hairbrush of hers, sent it off along with my own sample for a private DNA test. The results came back 3 weeks later. 0% probability of paternity. Mia wasn't mine. Not biologically, anyway. I felt like the ground opened up beneath me. 22 years, gone. A lie. A fantasy. I sat with it for days, didn't talk to anyone, didn't return Mia's angry texts or Trisha's fake apologies. I just sat with it, mourning a life that never really existed. And then, finally, I invited them both over. One last meeting. We sat at the dining table, the same one we bought when Mia was born, because it had enough room for a family. I handed them the sealed DNA results without saying a word. Trisha turned pale the moment she saw the envelope. Mia, still furious, ripped it open dramatically like she was trying to prove something. She read it. Her face crumpled. She looked at her mother, and the realization hit her faster than it had hit me. "I didn't know," Mia whispered, her voice suddenly so small. "You said, Dad." But Trisha was already in defensive mode. "It doesn't matter, Eric. You raised her. You're her father in every way that counts." I shook my head. "No," I said quietly. "You made a choice for me 22 years ago. You built this lie and let me build my life around it. And when I needed you both most, you spit in my face. You called me a failure, a loser, an insecure man." I looked at Mia, not with anger, but with finality. "I was never enough for you two, but I was better than either of you deserved." I stood up. "This is goodbye." Mia sobbed, reaching for me, but I pulled back. I left them both there, sitting in the ruins of the house they had shattered. I sold the house 2 months later. Started therapy. Took a long, hard look at who I was outside of being someone's husband or father. It's not easy. Some days, the loneliness roars so loud it feels like it might swallow me whole. But other days, most days, there's peace. Because now, for the first time in my life, I'm not living a lie. I thought when I walked out of that house, it would be like flipping a switch. That once the door slammed shut, I'd be free, unburdened. It wasn't that simple. In the weeks after, Mia blew up my phone. Messages, voicemails, late-night missed calls. At first it was anger. You're unbelievable. How could you do this to me? You're abandoning me over DNA? You're disgusting. Then guilt-tripping. I didn't ask to be born. You're still my dad, even if you're not my father. And finally, pathetic desperation. Please, talk to me. I'm sorry. I need you. I didn't answer. Not because I didn't hear the pain in her voice. I did. God, I did. But because I had nothing left to give her. The thing nobody talks about when you go through something like this is that grief isn't clean. It's messy, ugly. Some mornings I'd wake up and forget for a few blissful seconds that my world had exploded, and then it would all come crashing back. I'd remember every diaper I changed, every bedtime story I read, every graduation I cheered for, thinking she was mine, but she never was. Trisha, meanwhile, tried a different tactic. Emails, handwritten letters, even sending mutual friends to talk sense into me. One evening, about a month after the reveal, I got a knock at my apartment door. It was Mia. She looked rough, like she hadn't been sleeping. Dark circles under her eyes, hair messy, still wearing the hoodie she stole from me when she was 16. It gutted me to see her like that, but I stayed firm. I just want to talk, she said, voice breaking. I let her in. Maybe part of me wanted to hear her out. Maybe part of me still hoped for something. She sat on the edge of the couch, wringing her hands. I didn't know, she said quietly. I swear, Dad, I didn't know. Mom told me you were my father, my real father. I nodded. I believe you. Tears welled up in her eyes. Then why are you punishing me? I didn't choose any of this. I sighed and leaned back, staring at the ceiling for a long moment. I'm not punishing you, Mia, I said, but I have to protect myself now. I spent my whole life pouring everything I had into a lie. And when it cracked, when your mother's betrayal came out, you sided with her. You didn't even hesitate. You stood in my living room and told me I was a failure. Her face crumpled. I was angry. I didn't mean it. I smiled sadly. Maybe, but you said what you really felt in that moment. And you can't unsay it. She wiped at her face angrily. So that's it? You're just gonna pretend like I never mattered? I shook my head. You mattered more than anything. But the person you thought I was, and the person I thought you were, they're both gone now. I stood up, signaling the end of the conversation. My chest ached, like something was trying to claw its way out. I hope you find happiness, Mia. I really do. But I can't be the foundation you keep smashing and expecting to stay standing. She stood there for a long moment. Then she whispered, Goodbye, Dad. So quietly I barely heard it, and she left. Today, it's been almost a year since that night. I moved to a different city, smaller, quieter, bought a fixer-upper and started working on it in my spare time. There's something healing about tearing down broken walls and building something solid again. I adopted a dog from a shelter. His name's Tucker, a big, goofy mutt who thinks he's a lap dog. He doesn't care about DNA. He just loves me because I feed him and scratch behind his ears. Some days I still grieve, not just for Mia, but for the man I used to be, the man who believed love could fix anything, the man who thought family was built on trust. But other days, most days, I wake up, make my coffee, take Tucker for a walk and breathe deep, and for the first time in decades the air feels clean. Optional epilogue, short and emotional, if you want even more closure. I heard from a mutual friend that Mia moved in with her boyfriend. She's working, going back to school part-time. She seems okay. I still love her. I probably always will. But sometimes the healthiest kind of love is the kind you love from far away, without expectations, without lies, without bleeding yourself dry for people who never valued you the way you deserved.